Our actions and our words are brushstrokes, and through the interactions we share, a gorgeous mandala is what we create. This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 83 of Paradigm Shift Radio, the longest running consciousness shifting online radio show that is simultaneously a growing team of people in paradigm shift communities across the globe, working together to actively help elevate the consciousness of the planet in a variety of exciting and shifty ways. On this episode, it was another co-created community call-in. After personally using the opportunity to bring the team up to speed on the happenings and updates going on through the Paradigm Shift project, we moved into the callers and hit upon a variety of topics. Carlin brought us an inspiring update from the edge of the world. Lisa put forth some social concerns and challenges she is facing. Her sister was curious about reincarnation. Joel shared some insight about making the most out of any situation. And then our friends Noah and Oz joined us to share an update about a beautiful free hugs and love mob artistic event that our friend Alon from Paradigm Shift Israel is helping organize in the capital of the country that is really generating some awesome experiences for the people there and changing lives. So if you are listening to this, then that means that you are a welcome member of the team. One of our goals is collective education and inspiration. Courage is contagious, so be inspired and take action where you are, remembering that the little things make the big differences. Connect back and communicate, and be sure to join the 24/7 live chat through the main ParadigmShiftCentral.com website at any time to sync up with other shifters and make new friends within this awesome evolving community. Invite your friends to Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. Join us again for future episodes. Continue the conversations where you are, keep it shifty, and enjoy the flow. One love.
Dear everyone, you are pretty awesome. I just really want to say that. And a big shout out to everybody who is here, who is tuned into this for another awesome, exciting, educational, and insightful episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. This is your good buddy, your comrade in light and love, Skull Babylon, aka Brendon Wolfshield Culleton, coming at you once again for another psychedelic Sunday, a super psychedelic Sunday if we're lining things up correctly. And there's actually a lot going on that at this time of the world, and one of the very interesting things that I will head off and just let you guys know about is today is Imbolc, I believe, if I am pronouncing it properly, Imbolc. It's part of original pagan sort of holiday within the certain months of the year, and it is the middle point between the winter equinox and the solar equinox, if that's, one or the other, But anyways, so it's right in the middle. So it's kind of like this idea that we are halfway through. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel that is known as winter, and in spring we will grow our beautiful flowers once again, both metaphysically and literally. So if I can just get an 1111 from everybody in the live chat who is excited about the fact that it is Imbolc, that'd be super awesome, and just to get a little bit of response and communication going on between me and you guys in the live chat. And there it is. Thank you. Big shout out to Fox with the first 1111. Apparently your ping is the fastest, which may make sense since you are actually in London. And apparently it takes a few more seconds for this to travel all the way across the internet to some of the other places in the world. That's my theory anyway. So, but anyways, tonight on Paradigm Shift Radio, we're going to be having a few good buddies on. We're going to be having Noah, who was on last time, and as well as Alon. And Alon is our good buddy in Israel, and he's very involved with a lot of paradigm shifty stuff over there. He's got an event that he's going to be telling us about involving some free hug stuff and all sorts of very inspirational community creative collaboration type things. So we're going to hear from him once he gets here. It's like 4 a.m. in Israel right now, so he said he was just waking up. But in terms of the things that I just want to bring you guys up to speed on community-wise, well, I will say, okay, I'm just going to bring you guys up to speed, and then I guess we'll see where Noah and Alana are. But after that, I'm looking to just invite anybody who wants to join in on this conversation. And we may set in, I'm curious, I want to ask you guys if you guys think this works, because I think it'll be pretty cool. Opposed to just having 5 people on at once, which we've done in the past and does work, the idea would be to sort of have sequential callers call in almost with a time limit, so to speak, maybe 10 minutes per caller. $1-ish. And then from there, it's just the idea that we have a lot of people on the show at that point, and it just becomes this really interesting like Mandela of ideas. So if that sounds like a good idea, the idea of doing like a 10-minute time limit thing, you guys can put an 11:11 in the live chat and give me some feedback. Let me ping that idea off you, and we'll go back to that once we get there. And like I said, Alon and Noah will be on eventually when the time is right for them. But in terms of stuff that I just want to bring you guys up on, of course, we got the Paradigm Shift buttons that anybody can win tonight. And of course, if those of you who have, honestly, right now, before I even just say that, if you haven't invited people to the show, please do that. Just posting a link on your Facebook page. I mean, right now there's a good 41 people listening, which may equal out to like over 100 plus people who are tuned in live and just not in the live chat. Sorry, 41 users in the live chat. And last week we had one of our highest shows, obviously, when we had Kate on. We were talking about Santos. That's something I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the updates with Santos from the latest episode, those who might not have heard. So shout out to our good buddy Santos. But what I was going to say is that last show, it was almost 600 people tuned in live last night. And a big part of that is just obviously when we sort of collaboratively invite people to tune in. So now, in terms of what they're tuning into, Paradigm Shift Radio, those of you who are familiar, is a really cool branch of ParadigmShiftCentral.com, and this radio show is kind of like a digital version of the physical community meetings that we have on a regular basis within the multitude of Paradigm Shift communities that are across the globe, and there are new ones popping up every day. Shout out to Paradigm Shift Melbourne, Australia. They just had their first meeting today, so I'm really, really excited for them. Looking forward to actually hearing back on how that was. Maybe they'll call into a future episode. And shout out to there's a few. There's we'll get back to that. But shout out to Paradigm Shift Australia. Also in Brisbane is doing stuff. And there's a new one popping up in some other places. There's a couple places in Australia, actually. So good job, Australia. And again, we'll hear from Alon a little bit later. And shout out to there's a few people who are actually in the live chat of the main website and keeping an eye on that. Shout out to those people. If you people, for some reason, aren't able to join the Blog Talk live chat, you're welcome to just hang out in there. So, hey, everyone. So what I do want to mention for you guys, the buttons thing, I just got to remind people of that, obviously. I can share with you updates about Journey to Lucidity 2. I'm starting I filmed the parts so far for the promo video that I'll be doing for the funding campaign, so stay tuned for that. That's pretty exciting, and I'll need you guys' help on that a little bit in terms of the crowdfunding campaign, obviously. And I can share with you a story about how I accidentally elbowed a small child in the face while dressed up as Spider-Man. So there's a logical story behind that. I'd be happy to share it with you. I learned a valuable lesson from it. That was actually my post, if any of you saw on Facebook. So, Facebook.com/SkullBabylon. I put up a post earlier, and I said, it's not always about what happens. It's how you respond. It's how you respond to it that matters. It's something along those lines. But anyways, because that was a situation that, had to respond to that one. So, but anyways, let me just take 1 second here and just get a drink. And again, shout out, we got 42 people in the live chat, so that's pretty sweet. And shout out to the people who were joining me earlier when I was doing the button making marathon video that went for like 3.5 hours. That was pretty fun too. Just like literally live video footage of me just in the Google Hangout making buttons, and then people were joining in, and then it just turned into a paradigm shift discussion pretty much. So it's pretty cool. We'll have to. Obviously I do want to utilize more of the Google Hangout, and stay tuned for that, because the idea would be to literally just have open group discussions within certain times of the week, and I'm looking for some additional help from my admins on that, because we may need other people hosting the event, so to speak. That may be the best way to do it, opposed to just like myself hosting it, if that's not going to work perfectly. But anyways, so as you can see, within this paradigm shift community, there's a lot to talk about. I think I live up to the name Skull Babylon. There's a lot that is a lot of babbling on that is required, just in order to like keep you guys in the loop, so to speak, with a lot of the awesome stuff that was going on. But of course, if you're tuned into this radio show, in this episode in particular, it's not always going to be like this. When we have guests on, we bring them on right away. This episode in particular is just sort of like a little bit more casual, and it is an opportunity for me to bring you guys up to speed on the things I'm looking to bring you guys up to speed on. And okay, one second. I'm just reading a couple things. Okay. All right. So Oz is a friend of ours as well, and he's friends with Alon, and he's saying that Alon may not be awake right now, but Oz can jump in a little bit early. So Oz, if you want to call in through Skype, we can do that. We can get you brought on, and then we'll just sort of like roll with that. Yeah, you're more than welcome to. And I'm sure Alon will wake up. But anyways, okay, so in terms of bringing you guys up to speed some more, definitely check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com, and I'm just going to post links for that in the live chat. If for some reason you've just tuned into Paradigm Shift Radio and haven't checked out Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftCentral, then on there you'll find more of the video created community content, which is a really cool aspect. So, I mean, obviously the radio is just like one part of it, and the video side of it through the videos that we're creating are really cool, and we're always getting like new ones up every other day or so, and it's pretty sweet. So check out that, and you can find the full archive through the ParadigmShiftCentral.com/IS. IS stands for Inspiration Station. And shout out to Hawk. That's actually, Inspiration Station is actually something that sort of originated from him mentioning it first. But anyways, and so that's one thing. So again, and definitely check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Reminding you, I mean, quick plug, if you haven't checked out some of the awesome movies that we have through the main website, the 3 full-length films that I've directed, edited, and produced and stuff to date, you can check those out. Journey to the West, which is about my journey out to Vancouver. It's really cool. And you can go to these ParadigmShiftCentral.com/movies and watch these anytime. So there's Journey to the West. I go out to Vancouver, and it's a spacelight documentary. Wow, I could see, that's the thing. I could tell you guys about spacelight, and I'll probably be worthwhile for me to just do that too, but I don't want to I want to be able to talk about like 10 things at once, to be honest. But I don't know if it works that way. So anyways, so Oz isn't sure how to call in live. So let me just explain real quick. If you want to call in live, you can either call in through a regular phone, which probably will involve long distance charges unless you got like free minutes or something, and you can call into that through 347-539-5493. It's up at the top of the page, and right next to it at the top of the page, if you refresh the page, if for whatever reason it's not there, you'll see a Skype icon. All you gotta do is click the Skype icon, and if you have Skype up to date and installed, it'll ask you to launch it. Click OK, and then press the keypad generator thing up at the top when you're in the call. There's like a little thing next to the search bar. Press that, then press 1 on the key, and that will bring you into the queue. And that's how I get you from all the way across the internet onto this show. So now, again, the movies Journey to Rockmont, check that out too, and Journey to Lucidity, and again, Journey to Lucidity. Go to Facebook.com/Journey to Lucidity. I'm gonna post a link for that too. Again, just bringing you guys up to speed because there will be some really cool stuff coming out for that. If you haven't checked out Facebook.com/Journey to Lucidity, definitely link that up and watch the movie, full-length movie when you get a chance. And okay, I don't know. I mean, 11. I don't want. Still got to talk to you guys about the buttons, and I got to talk to you about Santos, and that's really it. And the Spacelight thing I can like mention another time. But Spacelight's super awesome, and you can order some online at ParadigmShiftCentral.com/Spacelight. Long story short, it's it's a what's the paradigm shift? Okay, hold on. I just want to make sure I'm getting the order of the words. Yeah, okay. So the best way to explain it literally is a natural alkaline health and athletic electrolyte formula, and that does what it sounds. It basically is one of the easiest ways to alkalinize your water, is pretty much how I can explain it, and it's kind of like a Gatorade but without all the sugar crap. And if you're an athlete, it's a great thing to help build up endurance over time. When you don't have the lactic acid, your muscles can work better. And if you just want to use it as like a hygiene product, it also helps with toothaches, things like that. It prevents plaque buildup, simple things like that, and it also helps with any sort of like additional joint aches. And yeah, like the whole idea behind it is to like help give us back the edge in a society that is constantly feeding us crappy food, and most of us don't have like a tip-top like shaped diet, and this is something that can sort of help us sort of transition. And it's not a fix, it's a tool that we can use. And yeah, so anyway, just bringing people up to speed on that. Definitely ParadigmShiftCentral.com/Spacelight you can order. And shout out to Sovereign Being, beautiful name, just giving a shout out to them. They just wrote me a nice compliment saying they enjoyed watching Journey to Lucidity last night. They said it was beautiful and they enjoyed it wonderfully and so forth. So happy to be able to share that with you, obviously, people. Oh, and if people want, they can order the Journey to Lucidity DVD, paradigmcentral.com/JTL. So there's a lot going on. And the GoFundMe page you can find at gofundme.com/Journey to Lucidity 2. And yeah. So other than that, I'm going to bring on somebody who's calling in from 250. I'm not entirely sure if that is possibly Oz. Oz, are you 250? Message me on Facebook if you are. But I'll be bringing them on in a second either way. Last thing I just want to mention to you guys, Santos is free. That's the awesome news. Santos is out of jail. And basically, long story short, for those of you who haven't been keeping up to speed, the original reason why Santos was arrested was because he didn't pay toll fines, you could say, for using roads that they have in Australia. And his basic defense of that was the fact that the roads were built by the people, and without being able to explain it perfectly, unless he had signed papers in a certain way and given away his own sovereignty, he didn't have a actual obligation to pay the fines of the roads. So he had over $100,000 in fines, but as it looks like right now, that's not the end of the story, but he's out of the jail, and I don't know the full details, to be honest, but he talked his way out of it. Santos hacked his matrix, hacked the matrix, and just sort of surfed his way through the prisons and planting seeds of awakening with other people in prison, and really got some cool ideas to other people and everything. And yeah. So somebody's asking, spacelight is not magnesium, but it is potassium. So somebody was just asking about that. So yeah, it's the best way, just from my own experience, the most efficient way. If you're looking for potassium, a lot of people just tell you to eat bananas. That's probably not even the most practical way, and I don't think we get as much potassium from bananas as we can think of. Other than that, you're looking at getting some weird pills and stuff from different places. But this is spacelight again. It's just it is natural. It's a natural mineral. It's a potassium bicarbonate, so to speak. So those of you in science, that's why I can break down and dilute into the water properly and efficiently get into our bodies. It is a super efficient way to be able to literally bring crystals into our body. And spacelight's changed my life. Allow it to change yours or something. I don't know. Maybe it is just placebo, but even if it is just bringing a whole bunch of mini crystals into my body, that would just give all the more reason for the placebo to be amplified and working. So just an idea. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to share with you what I'm fortunate to have. So again, check out that if you're interested. So Santos hacked his way out of jail, which is awesome. And Alon is going to be calling in soon, or Noah will be at least. And Noah said he's going to be here in just a couple minutes. And Oz can call in. Oz, you're totally welcome to call in. And I'm going to bring on this person from the 250 in 1 minute. After I just remind you guys that if you guys want free shift buttons, tools for building community and hacking the matrix and generating awesome experiences, you can do that by sending a message to facebook.com/paradigmshiftradio. And those of you who have already sent a message in the past, your name's already in the draw, so you don't need to send it again. And we'll do the draw for that later in the episode. And if anybody wants to help support the program and be able to contribute to even more free shift buttons that we give away this episode, then you can send a donation to gofundme.com/paradigmshiftcentral to be able to help support the ongoing creation of conscious media that is literally changing the world in awesome ways. And you guys are evident of the fact that we've connected and it's creating this global awesome team. So really awesome stuff, and wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So thank you for allowing this to be able to continue to happen. And if the donation thing isn't totally your style, last thing I will just mention is that obviously we are inviting people to sign up as monthly supporters to support the program. And you can do that through paradigmshiftcentral.com/donate. And basically what we're asking is micro contributions of $4 a month from people. That way so nobody has to break the bank. And then literally my goal, my objective is over time to get over 100 people, and then eventually over 200 people, and then eventually maybe 500 people. And then if that's the case, then that will literally the amount of energy I'll be able to invest into the project, and the amount of energy that will be coming out of the project will just continue to evolve, and that's a very exciting thing. So again, be sure to sync up with that if that's something you're able to. And right now we have 16 or possibly 17 people who are signed up for like monthly subscribers or monthly supporters rather, Paradigm Shift. And I'm going to be giving those people bonus gifts. I'm going to go back and I'm going to read The Alchemist. I'm going to do some of like the books on audio type style thing and just reading interesting stuff that you guys will enjoy. And I'm going to give that to the people who are signed up as monthly supporters. So I'll just, yeah, I'm pretty sure that. Do you guys have any questions? If you have any questions, PM me in the chat. Like, not to just spend more time, but if you guys need any clarity, definitely just let me know. So yeah, again, just shout out to everybody in the live chat. And I'm gonna bring this user on from 250. Somebody is asking, what is your intention for today's show, Brendon? And I can answer that. So, excuse me, I was just getting water. My intention for today's show, as mentioned, is to have Alon on, to at least have Noah on, possibly Oz on too. And these are all of our Jewish buddies, and they have buddies in Israel. And Alon is like making awesome stuff happen in Tel Aviv, Israel, which is like the capital, like rebirthing it from within, which is what the whole Skull Babylon thing is about. Those of you who were tuned in to last week's episode of Kate's radio show, you know, this whole like phonetics thing. Quick story for like the whole like Skull Babylon like as a name, and sorry, I couldn't not laugh at that. I just read Tiberius's message in the live chat. I'm not even gonna have to repeat that one, but yeah, classy man. What I was gonna say is that okay, so the Skull Babylon thing is basically skull can mean death. A lot of people see it as that. But in the same way, if it can mean the exact one thing, it can mean the exact opposite. So in the same way, skull can also mean birth or life or rebirth. And then Babylon, there's a lot of different ways to like interpret Babylon. You can think of Babylon as like the city of Babylon, the place where like all these ideas originally existed in one place, as it was a place of like magic and also a place of like sin and debauchery, and it was like the highest high and the lowest low. And Babylon in itself is culture, is the system, is the matrix, so to speak. And then within that, it's like the idea of rebirthing the system from within is one way I choose to interpret it. But again, what does Skull Babylon mean to you is always something I'm happy to ask people, because it was something in itself that revealed itself to me over time in very interesting ways. So what I'm hoping to get out of this episode, going back to that question, is a variety of insight. I've enjoyed talking to you guys for the last little minute, and I'm glad you guys had a chance to enjoy it as well. Presumably, shout out 1111 is a live chat. If you guys aren't like, if you are I'm like, what's the proper question here? I'm like, yeah, if you guys like aren't like enjoying sticking around with me, or no, I don't know. You guys are awesome. You guys, I don't even shout out 1111 if you're having a good time. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah. So I'm going to bring on callers from area code 250. And last thing, if anybody wants to add me on Facebook, please feel free to do that. Facebook.com/SkullBabylon. And I just made my way through like a whole bunch of friend requests. So shout out to all the people who have been connecting with me through the internet, because this is how it works. So going to bring a caller on from area code 250, and this is, so there's a caller from area code 250 and a caller from area code 218, and we'll just bring them on one at a time, and we'll see what's up, and we'll make room for our good buddies when they get here. So caller from area code 250, we're going to bring you onto the air to join the conversation. Here we go.
Hello.
Caller.
How are you?
Good. Caller, welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio. Can you share your name, where you're calling from, and what you would like to bring to the show?
Of course, beautiful. The name that I was given was Carlin. I am currently sitting at the edge of a forest right next to the ocean, watching the sun dip down beneath the mountains.
Holy
and right
cow.
above the sunset is the new moon that is appearing since the 1st of February, and it's just on the waxing phase right now, but it's so beautiful to just witness the natural beauty of this place we call Earth.
I was going to say, that sounds absolutely beautiful.
For the show, I kind of wish to just bring some insights unfiltered through my mind that maybe will come as a divine spark, reflection of some revelation that may flow through me. I'll try not to alter anything based on my beliefs or opinions, but that may happen.
Right on, man. Well, do you have any insight, so to speak, any sort of perceptions or some sort of shifts in your paradigm that you want to share, or any personal experiences?
Beautiful. Yes, I could do that. Well, for me recently, I have been completely surrendering, letting go of all material items that I have possessed up into this point. So with each piece, I feel I'm letting go of a fragment of my essence and bringing that essence back into myself, because I'm no longer putting my energy into these dense material objects. I'm able to surrender with the divine flow of life and actually experience a connectedness to the whole and to all of the humans that I've been encountering. And I've noticed a significant change in even the interactions that I've attracted into my experience. Anybody who I speak with is always knowledgeable on certain subjects that I've been researching in the few, I don't know what the word would be, I guess, subjects that are interesting me at that point in time. There will be always people who will reflect that experience into my life just from surrendering to that flow. And instead of going out and looking for people, just at the right time, someone will come and tell me a place to go, and I'll go there and I'll find exactly what I need. Or I'll be meditating on a rock and someone will come up and tell me, oh, you were looking for this. It's just over this way. And it's like, wow, it's like I've been really tuned into this sort of, I like to call it the divine flow of life, and surrendering to it and completely letting go of the old way of life in order to bring in this new aspect. And it's just been such a beautiful experience, and I've just been wondering if anyone else has had experiences such as this.
I think what a lot of people, man, I think a lot of people, especially those of you who tune in with the show, like, we're all echoing, I think, that same experience in a lot of ways. And I really appreciate you just, like, sharing what you had to share, because it really reminded me of, like, the reason why I don't want to always have to spend so much time at the beginning of the show talking, so I can bring awesome people such as yourself on, because I know that that's what is valuable, just hearing people share their experiences and everything. But yeah, man, just anything else that you just sort of want to be able to share with the people, this is just an opportunity to do that. So the microphone is yours.
Well, I would say if you are on this show searching for answers or searching for some kind of inspiration to get out and lose the suffering that you've been experiencing in your life and all those hardships and maybe those negative, dense feelings that you're still carrying within, I would suggest right now or even tomorrow morning or something to stop all of your thinking about the future. I know this is a basic step, but stop your thinking about the future and the past and go and find the most beautiful place that surrounds your area. If it's 5-minute drive, if it's a 5-minute walk, wherever you can go out to that place in nature that's not affected by any of these symbols or systems that the mind constantly is operating on, and just go out there and breathe in the lightness and take it in, because you're not surrounded by those judgments, those energies who are going to keep you weighed down. You're not going to be stuck in that perpetual system that you've been stuck in for so long, the routine, the 9 to 5, whatever it is. I know most people tuned into this show might have already, like you said, echoed and let go of that stuff. I'm just a reference point. Maybe I am not superior nor inferior to you, but I may be relative in my experience, and my words, I hope, can serve as a lighthouse to guide you into that flow and that essence that is so light relative to the dense system and symbols and structures created by these mental constructs that we consistently play with in our minds, defining ourselves wearing these clothing. Even the other day, I was up in a mountain and I took a walk up through this path, and I just saw the beauty and the sun just reflecting through the rainforest, and I just had this sudden urge to take off all my clothes. So I took off all my clothes and I just went for a run in the forest, and just taking the shoes off and taking all this stuff off that has been defining me for so long, and retouching with my roots and growing back into that relative human experience that we all share. It was just something that words cannot explain. And when you go out into those deep parts of nature, your mind truly shuts off, and you are able to do the things that you always talk about doing instead of just talking about them. You are able to experience them and feel them and raise up with that natural, beautiful flow of energy.
Nice, man. Nice. That's pretty cool. Let me like, are you literally just looking off? Are you on the edge of the world right now, or like, are you near water?
Yeah, I am in Tofino, British Columbia. So that is on the very, very west coast of Canada, and it is about 8 degrees Celsius here, and I'm looking straight up at the new moon and the ocean rippling. It's very beautiful.
I can imagine, man. I mean, like I briefly mentioned, just being out on the West Coast a few times, the energy always draws me back there. There's something magical about it, man. West Coast is the best coast.
Yes, it is very sacred. It's a sacred place. You have to travel by boat just to get to this island, and that's what separates it from a lot of other places.
Wow, man. Just going back to what you were saying, even just like the practice of walking around barefoot. I mean, and even if people aren't near the edge of the world, so to speak, even just going barefoot, just like in your park or just somewhere where there's grass, even just that is like a very ritualistic and energetic experience.
Yes.
Like you're
very
barefoot
beautiful.
right now, right?
No, not right now.
Oh,
I'm actually I tuned into your show, and me and my friends we bought an RV, so we just finished cleaning it out, and we're living free out of there, basically surfing and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I kind of stopped and pulled off on the side of the road to come share a little bit of reflecting this light, this experience that I get to experience.
Yeah.
Although words are a very small, fragmented. They can't really do it justice, but yeah.
We can, believe me, man, even by the fact of you like sharing, using your words, we can still see it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would agree. You can still get a sense of it, and it's kind of interesting as like an idea of how we're using technologies. Just like psychically, we can almost sort of theoretically tap into each other's experiences from a distance. So like what you just said, just like, yeah, I can feel or see to a degree, and theoretically more so with practice, what it is that you're experiencing. My point is that there theoretically will come a time when we won't be able to use cell phones, and so we should just practice we should practice being psychic now, is basically my point. There's no reason not to.
Yes, and that's what I was thinking before I called in. I was thinking of things I might say, pre-planning it out, and I was just thinking of how magnificent it is. We're all looking up at the same stuff, and we're able to communicate from so far away and just share our experiences.
Totally, man. Well, we do have we got a couple other people we can move on to, and I'd love to not boot you off the air right away. So if it's up to you, if you want to stick around, you're welcome to stick around. And I was also going to ask, do you have Facebook? Because a lot of people are asking. They're just like, yo, man, like tell the guy to add me. He sounds cool.
Yes, of course. My Facebook is Carlin McCrae, and it is CarlinMcrae. I can't really type because I'm just on my phone.
No, it's good.
I do have to get going because my friends are waiting for me, but feel free to add me on Facebook, and I'm sure I'll be sticking around this community for a while. So.
Oh, for sure, man. I appreciate you being here, and you might have like 50 friend requests when you get home later. But that's how it works here. People, like, if they want to be connected with awesome people doing awesome stuff, this is an efficient way to do it. So, Carlin, before I just sort of switch to the next caller. Oh, and I was going to say, for our callers, if we are sort of going one caller at a time, you can prepare for the idea that you can talk for like 11 minutes and 11 seconds. That was Jody's idea. So opposed to just 10 minutes, we'll just like make it super, super special with 11 minutes. 11 seconds. Anyways, Carlin, was there anything else that you just wanted to mention while the microphone is yours?
Namaste.
Cool, man. Cool. All right. Well, is the sun completely set where you are? Is it below the horizon?
Yes, the sun has completely set, and the light is the only reflection off the moon now.
Awesome, man. Well, enjoy it for us and with us. So appreciate it. And if you're still listening on your phone, I'm gonna bring you back on if you happen to be around. But I'm gonna mute you for now, and we're just gonna switch gears to get more callers through. But yeah.
Okay, amazing. I'll tune in, but I will no longer be on my phone.
Okay. All right. Okay. Cool, man. Appreciate
Thank you very much for having me, man.
Cheers, brother.
Enjoy.
Awesome. Oh man, now if people have never been out to British Columbia or something along those lines, definitely just make a point of putting it on your to-do list. Or I mean, not even just British Columbia, anywhere up along the coast. It's just absolutely beautiful. But like you were saying, there's this nature, even if there is nature that's like 15 minutes away from you or whatever, but definitely make a point. Just make a little date, a little adventure date to you and a friend to go out and do something. Even if it's like first thing in the morning, just like, all right, man, like here's the plan. Like tomorrow morning we are going to go watch the sunrise from like the top of this mountain and do it. Like me and buddy Mike did that when we were out in Vancouver, out in California last time. But enough stories of that, and we'll bring the next caller from 218 onto the show. And we do have Oz also in the queue. Is Noah in the queue? In the queue. I don't think Noah's in the queue, so we're just going to wait. Oz isn't in a rush to come on. I'm going to bring these other callers on, and then if Noah is around, we'll just bring all of them on at once because they're talking about the same thing anyways. So we're going to bring on, and shout out to 49 people who are in the live chat. That's pretty awesome. And we'll wait till we get to the top of the hour, but we'll do that. Okay. Caller from area code 218. If you are ready, we're going to bring you onto the show. Here we go. Hello, caller.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, caller, what is your name? Where are you calling from? And what would you like to bring to the show?
My name is Liza Hagen, and I'm from northern Minnesota, and it's very snowy up here, and I don't have as many interesting things to talk to you about as the last caller, but there are a lot of deer and rabbits and raccoons in my backyard. I'm actually looking more for some insight.
Okie dokie.
I'm looking for some help. I'm looking for help.
Yeah, if there's a particular question?
I need enlightenment.
Are you asking me for that?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Okay, well, I mean, there's a couple nuggets I can share. I got no problem with that. There's stuff we were talking about earlier on the button-making marathon hangout. So do you want? Okay, well, I want to hear from you too. So I'll drop this little nugget, and you guys tell me if this makes sense. Okay. So it's basically this idea that we are the blue people. What I mean by this is that the blue people that we see in the depictions of Hindu art, oftentimes of deities, they are literally like blue versions of Shiva and things like that. And the reason behind that is because the human skin right now, if you were to invert the colors of our eyes, and that is actually what is happening. Everything we are seeing right now is the inverted color of what it actually is, plus it's upside down. So
the sclera of my eyes are blue. I don't know if I'm a blue person, but the sclera of my eyes are blue.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, because when you invert the color of skin, it's blue. And you can test this just by taking a photo of someone, and then you can just use an invert filter, and you'll see like it's blue. So the idea behind this is that like when we the reason why the Hindu people depicted their gods as blue is because they often saw them in those higher astral planes, or those higher dimensional states of consciousness, which can be the same as dream time as well. And within the dream time, the filters wouldn't be on the same way that we have in this reality, this version of reality. Therefore, they would see like the gods or whatever as blue people. But again, it just ties in with this sort of blue people thing that you see throughout culture with like the Smurfs, and even just with like Avatar and things like that. And there's a few other places that we see them here and there. But I guess does that make sense to you? Is that
No, I think that's a very cool concept. But I came on to the I might be changing the subject, but
that's not a problem. Go for it.
Here's what I want to ask you. I am not happy. I'm not happy with the state of the world right now. And I'm very mad about people. And I'm very mad about all of Hollywood. And I'm mad about how so many people are misled. And I'm mad that I'm mad because I can't have any friends that are guys, because they're all trying to hit on me, and I just want to be friends, and then they try and stab me in the back, and I might be bringing negative energy here, but I just want to hear what you have to say. Why is it that when I speak my mind, and I'm a woman, mind you, I feel as though I'm being oppressed and at the same time hit on?
So is that okay? I'm
having a problem. That's why I called you.
Well, this isn't traditionally like Dr. Phil type stuff, but I'm not against just being able to reflect your question in some way or another. And I mean, I think being here within this community is definitely a first step towards just being able to create a new circle of something in your life that will theoretically like take more not even necessarily more priority, but it will help bring more positive perceptions into your life. Like right now through the live chat, I guarantee you there's at least like 5 or 10 people who would love to be your friends who won't hit on you. And
well,
just like decent people.
I want to love people in the worst way. I want to be open to people, and I want to love everyone. I do. I want to be happy, and I want to trust people, and I want to be one of those people that's like, I have my arms open to everyone, and I'm gonna be a healer, and I'm gonna do all of those things. But then it's like I start having conversations with people, and I find out that there's nothing that I can do. What can I do? I mean, other than listen to their bullshit and listen to them, and especially if it's guys. A lot of times, if it's guys, it's like I want to listen to them, and I want to be there for them, and I want to do this. And women too. But women don't tend to be as open to me as guys are, you know. So what do I do about this problem?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, even just not directing that question just at myself, but at the community, and we can take a little bit of time with this. I mean, I think Noah will let us know when he's around. So, I mean, sitting on this is obviously, I think, a very relative discussion topic to address, and obviously it's not, like, it just has to do with, like, our social structure and the way we live. And I was going to say, so people from the audience, just let us know if you have like some sort of ideas, insight, perception, reflection on what our caller friend here is talking about. And I will say, from my own end of things, I think attitude is everything. And I think if you become more aware of your impressions, then you'll be more capable of changing them over time. Like the idea of transforming your impressions. Like, And it also, I mean, I don't want to just tell you stuff that you feel that somebody else would just be able to tell you, but the idea of like what you're getting back is what you're putting out. So you can't expect it to change unless you are willing to change yourself. That would be what I would have to say. Is that?
Yeah, I feel like it's possible that I have like certain things that about myself that were rooted at a very young age or something that I don't remember that caused me to be a certain way. But I try to be very clear because I love talking to women and guys, but my main problem is guys because they tend to be more open, and so I can have more conversations with them. They tend to be more open toward me, but then it always turns out that they wanted something from me all along, and then I will try to be clear that, hey, like I'm in a relationship right now, and I love the person that I'm with very, very much, but I really like you. You're very cool. And I will continually tell them the same thing over and over and over again, that, hey, like, I don't know what you're getting at right now, but I really love the person that I'm with right now. And I do want to be your friend, though. I want to be your friend. And then they turn it around on me, and they say that I'm a horrible person.
Yeah. That's such a guy thing. We're weird.
Yeah. Well, women, though, aren't as open as guys. But so how do I go about being friends with people?
Yeah. Okay, let me just... This is like really interesting stuff. I like it.
I have a couple of other people here. My sister's right here. She wants to ask you a question. Here.
Oh, okay. All right, got more people joining in.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
Welcome to the internet.
Hi. I'm on the internet? Oh, okay.
Apparently.
I haven't participated much on the web for many months. Anyway, I'm her sister, and I have, I guess I had rolling around in my head about this is entirely off the subject, right? It's basically about past life, past, future, present lives.
Okay.
And I was posing the question about souls being recycled. About whether or not there's a limited amount of souls because energy in itself is recycled, right? Was it just recently that Stephen Hawking was saying that a black hole is basically non-existent, completely non-existent, because what a black hole is nothing but something that just spits everything right back out, right? All it does is kind of everything is metamorphosized, or if you want to call it that, and then it spits that right back out. And then what I've been thinking about is what you would have to say about the
soul
possibility
stuff.
of the possibility of basically how new soul. I mean, are new souls created regularly, or are they simply recycled, just like energy, and as abiding by the rules of the universe and the laws of what would you call the nonlinear time, and time being circular and everything like that.
Yeah, that is, I think that's like a really neat question to just sort of dance around with. I mean, I'm always really interested in like the concept of souls or whatever, because I mean, I think that's kind of a lot of us are sort of getting to, or a lot of us here on the show would probably say that we're not religious, but we're spiritual, and like to me, like among other things, being spiritual does sort of open up to this idea of the fact that you are more than your physical body, and what we recognize, what we deem as a soul. One of the things, I mean, without I can't answer
what we recognize, right? Like what we recognize, like like when we have experienced deja vu, we recognize something so strongly that and then it's like we know that we've seen it or heard it before. And so how can we? It's like we want to believe that we're completely individual and unique in our own selves, and yet we are unique in our lives, but we're carrying out through past
we sort of
lives.
And we don't really have a clear vision of that too, because sorry, go ahead.
Present, past, and future are all happening all at once.
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty trippy that way. So I will say, caller, we're gonna. I haven't kept an exact track of the time, but we're gonna jump over to another caller in the next few minutes. But we'll just get a few more. I just want to spend a little bit, because what I was gonna say with this idea, with the soul thing, at least one of the ways that I've almost thought about the soul, and I'll just put this out there, and people tell me if this makes sense, was the idea that you can almost think of sorry, I'm just getting a weird echo off of your end. Sorry, caller, I'm going to bring you back on just as soon as 1 second. But what I was going to say, one way I've almost thought about the souls is that each soul, each lifetime you are born into this world is actually creating a new branch of that soul, a new player of the team is kind of this analogy that I use to visualize. So right now we're on the game of life, and to me I almost picture that game as a hockey rink, and then our past live versions of ourselves are actually on the bench cheering us on, so to speak. So it's not I necessarily am the exact same player each time I incarnate. Each time I incarnate, it creates a new player for this team. And right now, I just happen to be the one on the ice, and the guys on the bench are the past versions of myself. And they're just basically just go get him, champ. You got this. So anyways, I know it's kind of a different idea of how to think about souls and stuff, but it's one that just sort of came to my mind. But the idea that's really neat about that is the idea that we are each this individual. We are new, we are fresh, we are something that has not happened quite in the same way before. Each of us is this very unique thing, which I think is pretty cool. So if I can hit 1111 in the live chat, that made sense. But I'm gonna bring the caller back on, and we're just stunting out the echo, and we'll transfer on to the next caller shortly. But caller, any thoughts on that or additional points?
Oh, thoughts? Not necessarily. I just
okay.
It's just something that ruminates through my mind. You should say ruminates. And that's it. And thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, and I don't want to just not answer your sister's question. Does your sister have Facebook? Because there's some people who would be happy to add her. I don't know if you want to put your sister back on.
Yeah, she's right here. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, okay, thanks for chatting with us too.
Yep, Albert. My sister Albert is very much into energy and such. She's into Toltec wisdom and all these Toltec books and so much. She's totally introduced me to him too.
Awesome.
But,
so you guys can teach each other a lot. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I love it. But I would like to whoever wants to add me and whoever has any insight, I'll read whatever they have to say, because I feel pretty alone at this point in time. But I don't know. Whatever you got for me, just throw it at me. That was hilarious.
Well, I think definitely something will come out of this, and I always try and say, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone, that's just a part in our path where we really get to go inside and sort of figure out who we are and who we want to be. So right now, don't even think of this as life is all about the ups and downs, but what is always important is that we climb back up, and each time we do, it's really being able to appreciate the highs. So just because you're somewhere in your life doesn't mean that you're always going to stay there. This is a quote from Winston Churchill that I love, and it's one of my favorite quotes. It says, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." So even just in this, as long as you're open to the idea of allowing change to occur, then the universe will meet you halfway. and it definitely gets exciting. But sorry, caller, what's your name on Facebook so people can add you, and I'll post that into the live chat.
Liza Hagen. Liz as in zebra, A Hagen. Hagen.
All right, and Facebook-wise, it's so again Lisa.Hagen.3, and that's where you can find her on Facebook. But I just posted it into the live chat, so I know a few people will add you there. But really appreciate you calling in, and I think you do bring up some very interesting points of conversation, which there's no reason, I mean, as a community, cannot be talking about together. I appreciate it.
So when I log in, how do I get that information?
There will be like people who have added you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, people will
so
add
I can just go on my own. I can just go on my own Facebook and just get friend requests. Perfect.
Exactly. Joy of the internet.
Okay, awesome.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a wonderful night.
Have a.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye.
All right, awesome. So, switching over to, well, it looks like Noah should be here any second, and I know I'm just like hyping him up so much because he's such a great guy. And we do have Oz, who's also been patiently waiting, and we do have a couple other callers who are in the queue, and I do want to be able to bring them on as well. Noah, I'm going to check in with him, see if he lets me know. If people, sorry, somebody's just asking the question. Somebody's calling through Skype. Your Skype ID shows up in the queue, so just let me know your Skype ID, and I can always find out who's who. It's pretty easy that way. So I will theoretically bring on the next caller who's been waiting in the queue for a while, and their live chat is, or sorry, their Skype name is called Live. So I don't know if that's like a weird glitch or if that's actually their name, but we're going to try bringing them on. And let me just send a message to Noah, and and I will be able to get you guys all synced up and good to go. So, hey, Noah, are you around yet? Okay, perfect. Okay, all right. So caller from area code, or rather, caller from Skype name Live. We're going to bring you onto the show and see how it goes. Here we go. Hello, caller, can you hear us?
I can hear. This is Joel speaking.
Joel, you want to be on the show, right? Like you're in the queue properly, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool, man. All right. Well, yeah. Joel, I guess let people know where you're from and anything you want to bring onto the show, feel free to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to feedback and just kind of be a mirror for everything that everyone's throwing out. I live over near Toronto in Canada. And one of the things that I was over on a Kate show tonight, and one of the topics of conversation that came up, one of the topics was around food and how people are like, yeah, I'm doing all these efforts into becoming more spiritual and aware and all that, but I still struggle with my diet, or I try this and I get all lost in that. And I love this particular piece because I find that you can have this very unique connection with what you put into your body, and it'll literally communicate with you to either work for you or work against you in terms of, how consciously aware you are of what's going on. And then it doesn't obviously just stop at food, but there's other ways in which we get our body's chemistry to move, right? Movement is another form, whether you do yoga or dance or just walk. But the more sensory input you stimulate, the more aware you become. And the reason I want to bring all this up is because everybody asks so many different kinds of questions. Like the lady who was just asking, she wanted enlightenment. You're like, what's enlightenment? Well, it's different for everybody. Perhaps we can be general about it and say something like it's to know more and have a greater awareness than where you're currently at, and in which point you will feel more elated. Perhaps we can make a general statement like that. But so what does it really mean? To get a grasp on that, you have to know who you are. And so this is also an abstract concept in a way, so I want to try and put a little bit of substance to that. And
yeah, actually, caller, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm just gonna say I gotta step away from the mic for 1 second, but just keep talking and I'll be right back. You got this.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to knowing who you are, you have to really use everything that's around you in order to have it kind of be as a mirror to show back to you, where is your headspace at? What are you doing? What are you not doing? And be attentive to that. So rather than being reactive to the people and the situations in your life, such as, I want to have a partner, or I don't know what to do with my life. Okay, so if you don't know what you do with your life, look at what are you doing and feel it out. Is this actually constructive? You're probably going to find that it's not. So maybe actually go out and write a list of all these things that you are. What are you actually putting your time towards? Oftentimes I ask people, so what do you value? And write these out. And now create another list and write down, what do you actually do with your time in any given week? And then you compare those lists, and they're two completely different things. So really, what you're projecting out is totally not what you are thinking that you want. And that's like, that constant back and forth between what I want and what I don't want. That's just you not knowing who you are. So you're just reacting to life rather than really being conscious with it and molding with it and playing with it to create whatever you came here to do, whatever that unique spark is in you. And everyone has their own unique spark to express in the world and the passion that they bring on any given subject. And can you imagine if everyone just did that, how we could find an answer for anything? Because when you're operating that way, you're operating out of love. You're not operating out of scarcity or need or trying to figure out how-tos. You simply feel like, okay, this is what I'm awesome at, and I'm so passionate about this. And you bring it forward, and that's going to help so many other people, and you're going to feel bloody awesome in the process of doing this. So I wanted to take this a step further, and also because I think someone had in the chat mentioned something about how to become more psychic or something like that. And that's another cool subject that goes right along with this, because when you start using the tools around you to get reflection back and observe where I'm at in life, what's not working for me, what am I resisting, and you bring these things into conscious awareness and you allow yourself, you make the conscious choice, because now you know, to allow that to clear, feel it through, let the emotions pass, whether it's anger or I need to have a good cry or ready to go punch a bag, or whatever it is, and let these things ride through, and you clear these blocks that you put up, and you don't even know most of the time, you don't even realize that you're putting up these blocks energetically, and then they take physical form as well, and then people start getting intolerances to food and allergies and all sorts of stuff like that. And you start allowing these releases to occur. The more you do that, the more personal work you do in this way, the more of a clear channel you become in order to allow yourself to reflect onto others what is around you, to be more of a pure essence, so that you're not diluted by drama and all sorts of crap. And then you start plugging into people. Like, everyone has their unique way of doing this. So I often come back to some very basic ways of observing things psychically. Some people naturally see things, whether it be auras or spirits or images in their minds. There are other people who have messages that they'll just hear. Other people, like myself, were much more intuitively guided through feeling or just an inner knowing. I think something that's called claircognizance. And when you start doubting yourself and you realize that this message just kind of came through for me right now, did I just make that up, or maybe you didn't just make that up? Maybe it's actually the highest aspect of yourself speaking through with every little opening that you have available to come out, and those are nuggets of gold that you can use for your own personal insight and to share with others. This happens for me all the time. Whenever I'm talking to people, and this is like the most amazing when it's complete strangers, because I have no bias towards them at all. And so they're talking about something, and literally as they're talking to me, I'm looking them in the eyes, and I'm seeing right into the heart of their soul. And I'm like, okay, I hear that. So this is what's going on. And I asked, so would you like a little bit of feedback?
Yeah.
And as soon as they say yes to the feedback, then everything just feels like.
Sorry, are we checking if there's feedback? Is that what you were asking?
No. When I was saying feedback, I was referring to you giving feedback to a person. Whenever you have your conversation with someone, rather than just spewing out whatever you feel or whatever advice you want to give, right. I always ask people to open the door, right? So to invite them, would you like some insight? And then that's when I come in as a mirror to them. And the more clear you are, the more messages that you get in your own way, after having done more work on yourself, this is a way of psychically connecting into other people. And then what you feed back to them becomes a perfect imagery that is exactly what they needed to see right there and then, so that they can get over whatever their current hurdles might have been. Mm-hmm. So that's, I think, a really practical way for anyone to exercise their own psychic potential. Is if you have nowhere else to start with that. The personal work on yourself, use the tools around you so that you can clear up your own muck. And the more you do that, the more space you create to become receptive to what comes through from spirit, from the spirit, the guides and the higher selves of others. And it's like your higher self having a conversation with someone else's higher self. And when you're clear and not mucked up, you can hear what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. And
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so many tools available. That's why there's so many healing modalities, nutrition, Reiki, massage, everything. These are all tools, all different modes of communication, of ways for you to learn how to communicate with yourself. And you just find the one that resonates most with you, that you understand that language, and then you work with that.
Right on, man.
That's kind of my tip.
Yeah, man. No, that was good. Like you said, that was something you didn't even really have to like write ahead of time or whatever. But when you know your stuff, and I mean, living by example and everything like that, like it's what you just did, just kind of letting that flow of information come through. That's like you said, that's just like one example of how. I mean, that was something we were talking about in one of our paradigm shift meetings, like the idea of being sacred. And something that is more sacred is, by my interpretation, is something that the water, or like the spiritual consciousness in its purest form, can flow through with the most ease. So like you said, literally like removing the gunk and stuff like that. The more gunk we remove, the more the water can flow through. And that's when you get into stuff like not having to dodge bullets anymore, you know, like that's like the Matrix thing, where you can get into like the martial arts side of it and stuff, and just being able to think about the athletics performance and just optimized aspects of our human potential in different ways. But
exactly,
yeah,
you can apply this to
anything
aspect of life, whether it be athletics, whether it be personal counseling with people. It's just like for me personally, I just have a natural aptitude for connecting with people and just getting them. Like, I do get you. And so the way that has worked for me is, the more clearing work I've done, the more easier it is for me to simply connect with someone and be able to tell them exactly what's going on in the situation, and how this connects to that, and how this led up to that, and they're like, wow, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. But if it's athleticism, it's all about being present, right? So when it's athleticism, you're present, and if your natural aptitude, I hear people were talking about parkour free running on the chat. That's cool. I used to be into parkour. That was fun.
Yeah. Talking about doing pull-up competition. That's what they're talking about doing.
Oh.
Among other things. Yeah.
But
go ahead.
That's another perfect example of it. You have to be really present in the moment to know, to feel rather, and intuit, you know, what's the best way to move, how to leverage your weight, your speed, like your momentum. You don't think, very left brain about it. I mean, maybe you can excel in that way and do it like that. But when you're in the flow, you just feel how to navigate through that and how to apply the right amount of power in the right way to excel at whatever it is you're doing. And this is that tool that everybody can learn to harness to sharpen your hammer, your axe, or whatever your tool is. Use that method. It's all about you. The more you do on yourself, be selfish, if you want to use that word. Because the more you do on yourself, you're going to feel that much more damn amazing. And when you do, so is the entire world around you as you watch it transform. Just try it.
Yeah, it definitely like ripples out. It gives other people permission to try it themselves. Definitely, man. Well, sorry, what did you say your name was? Not Jared? No, yes? What did you say your name was? Joel?
The same guy with the same birthday as you.
Oh, so, okay, all right. That's true. Nice, July 18th, man. Represent. Like, that's like cusp of Cancer and Leo type thing. Always, yeah. But yeah, we could talk about astrology and stuff. But we can talk about lots of things. And we do have Noah, who's actually in the queue. So I would like to be able to just sort of like, you can stick around in the live chat. And I mean, I'm not against bringing you back on, but we're going to switch gears in the next minute to hear what Noah's got to share, as well as Oz. But before we do that, Joelle, was there anything else that you just wanted to touch upon or just share with the global audience of people who have, like, whose attention you have right now?
No, I think I did my piece, so I'm going to hand over the table to somebody else, and I'll be around, especially if you have a little round robins of a topic where multiple people can share, participate in that later.
Cool, man, cool. All right, dude, and yeah, if you're around for the after party, I'll see you there too as well, because reminder to people, we will be doing after party as per usual, and I guess I'll host it. I might as well. It's just a internet bandwidth thing. I gotta be careful about that, but we'll do it anyways. And stay tuned for that through the Facebook page, facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. And I guess I'll just remind people again, if they want to enter into the Shift Buttons draw for this episode, you can do that. Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. Post a link for that. And yeah, if you want to order buttons, please do that. We did have one order coming in during the marathon today, so shout out to Anna, I believe it was. And of course, if you want to just use the promo code PSR with your Shift Button order, you will get bonus buttons for that, because we want to be able to share these with you. We want you to be able to use them and have awesome experiences. But alas, I digress. And Joel, I'll keep you in the queue, man. I mean, if I need to bring you back on, we'll do that. But we still got a couple other callers, so we're gonna move through with things. But I appreciate you calling in, man.
Beautiful, brother.
Good insight right there. So, all right, man.
Mirror,
I'll talk.
Mirror.
Hey, there you go, man. All right, I'll talk to you in a bit, dude. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, cool. So, looking to bring on Noah next, and we'll do that, and we'll also bring on Oz. And they've got some, again, so I don't know where Alon is. I guess he's sleeping. I mean, it is like 5 a.m. in Israel right now, but still, he actually dropped by when we were doing the button-making hangout marathon I was doing earlier today, so I actually talked to him, so I know what he was going to talk about, but Noah's got the details on it as well. So we'll bring on Noah, and then we'll bring on Oz. So Noah, again, is my good buddy from Paradigm Shift London, and I'll post his Facebook in the chat. If anybody wants to add him, that's totally cool. Oh, and last reminder, be sure to share the show once it goes up on YouTube as well, and we'll do the button draw with about 10 minutes left in the episode, and we may or may not do a group meditation by the end. We'll see where we're at, but Noah, I'm going to bring you onto the call, and we'll move forward from there. So, Noah, if you're ready, here we go.
Hello.
Yo, Noah. Hey, dude. Welcome back.
How's the show?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground so far, so it's been pretty interesting, no doubt. But I've been setting you up the entire show. I was just like, yeah, Noah's gonna be here. He's got epic stuff to talk about. Because I mentioned I heard.
You're putting pressure on me.
Yeah.
I don't even.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, it's pretty cool, the stuff that Alon is planning, and it would have been great to hear from him firsthand. But I know Oz is involved as one of the organizers. How much are you involved with this stuff that they got going on in Israel?
Well, this is kind of a very organic process, and we're all coming from different visions. I'm coming from a more, I guess, I don't even know if religious is the right word, but more from just from the ancient mystical prophetic level, and they're more coming from, open-minded spiritual level, which they're so aligned in so many ways, and it's amazing to see how different manifestations of things happening in Israel from totally different vantage points, and how they are pointing to some very, very ancient and powerful prophecies that are reaching fruition.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought for there. I like where you're going with this. So I'm going to bring on Oz, and we're going to get more of the details on what this actual event is that is going to be happening February 12th-ish, I think. And Oz is going to be telling us about that happening in Tel Aviv in Israel with our good buddies in Paradigm Shift Israel, Alon. And you can find the link through that. And Noah, you got crazy static on your end, man. I don't know what you got going on.
Oh, really?
Like, sort of. I don't know.
Okay.
Now it's okay. I don't know if you were pointing towards something, but...
I'll put my charger in just in case.
Yeah, maybe it could be your onboard, like, fan or something. But anyway, so I'm going to bring on Oz, and Oz is going to tell us what's up and what these shifty characters have been planning. So, Oz, I'm going to bring you onto the air. Here we go. Hello, Oz?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oz, it's so good to hear your voice.
So good to hear your voice.
Wow.
It's been too long.
You guys, now let me preface this. You guys last ran into each other when you were doing free hugs in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you guys did a whole thing there. And so Oz, tell us about what you got like a free hugs event happening in Israel, but it's more than that. So tell us what Alon and yourself have been planning and organizing.
Okay, so I basically have two great things to tell you about. First of all, it's happening this Friday, February 12th, in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And they're basically doing, it's Alon and another friend of ours, and his name is Avi. They're both doing a great mini love festival. It's right in the heart of Tel Aviv. It's in a great place. And it's going to include free hugs, and they're going to do some face painting and just good vibes in general.
Definitely, man. Yeah, like that's pretty much that's what Alon told me. Like that's like the gist of it and stuff. But the numbers that you guys are looking at, because you guys got an event page, and I'm actually just trying to find that on Alon's page right now, and I'll post a link for that for people in the chat. And like the group is not called Paradigm Shift London; they're called B, and that was like more better for the translation to to Hebrew as well. But I'll post a link for like the quote unquote Paradigm Shift Israel into the live chat and also into the show notes on YouTube. But yeah, like so Oz, like since you sort of posted this event, what are your numbers looking like so far?
So it's very, very high actually. It's crazy. We posted this event about 3-4 days ago, and we already have over 100 people coming into this event.
That's pretty sweet. And like, what sort of stuff would the people be bringing to the event in terms of like artists?
Basically, that's the type of deal that they want to do is they want to let every single person bring whatever they want just into the community and share it with everyone, and that's basically it. Nothing special. Could be an instrument, could be just yourself, could be anything. Basically, whatever you desire.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's like what makes it so potent is the fact that like this event is not trying to, you know, when you look at the alternatives and when we have like protests and stuff like that, this event goes back to what we were talking about in the past episode when we had Preston Smiles on, and he was talking about like the love mob type stuff that they were doing in multiple cities in Pittsburgh and as well as in California. And like that's what this is. This is like a love mob in Israel. And now for us in the West, I mean, I'm not totally like super educated on the situations in Israel, I'll admit that, but I guess with you guys, like based on just your own connection to Israel, and I'll ask Noah, like what does it mean to have an event like this happening in the capital of Israel at this time in this cosmic global shift that is occurring right now, and it just warms my heart to know that like Alon and Oz are behind this, and knowing that like that was inspired through the Paradigm Shift stuff that we got started a few years ago. But yeah, like Noah and Oz, what does it mean to you that this is happening?
It's kind of one of those things that it's when fate meets free will. This is very deep. This is just things that we can't fully comprehend yet. And you know what? In my life personally, I'm connected to souls. It doesn't matter who they is, what their spirituality is, what their ethnicity is. That isn't extremely important to me. What's important to me is the unity. On that note, though, what I speak to is the power that there is potential for in Israel to bring about what we are talking about in the United States, which is a complete revolution in consciousness. Because people on such a deep level in their souls share a root and a bond and a connection through the state, the land of Israel, plus the religious connection, there is such a potential to bring a unity that has never been seen before in so the way I see it is kind of both this synthesization of just spreading love in combination extremely deep prophecies related to what happens when the Jews reunite back into Israel when from the four corners of the earth. And that's something that's prophesied by numerous prophets in the last 2,000 years. And it's that kind of walking into. And from my perspective at this moment, it has very little to do actually with the political stuff that's going on. There's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of negative aspects to the whole situation, both from both sides. And I don't really want to get into the more political stuff, but I just want to speak to some of these prophecies that really point to a time where in Israel it starts off being very political, and then it moves inwardly through the people's change in consciousness into a spiritual hub, into a spiritual place. And from the Jewish perspective, that when the final temple is sort of built in Israel, that it's going to be a temple for all peoples, that there's not going to be a temple for the Jewish people and a temple for the Muslims and a temple for the Christians. All are going to be united under one roof. And so there's kind of an end vision, and it's just a matter of how it's going to manifest. And so we are seeing the beginning stages of a serious revolution of love. And in order for that to happen, of course there's going to have to be grave political changes. But the fact that people in Israel can unite on a common ground and bring unity in ways that maybe the world has never seen before, I really believe that there is a strong energetic connection in that part of the world. And if used properly, if used the way that Alon and Avi are starting, we are going to see some very drastic changes inwardly in Israel based on the souls of the people that are living there right now. That's kind of where I'm looking at this whole thing from the cosmic perspective and how it relates to peace overall. It's very abstract, but it's very deep. And I know that Avi and Alon haven't necessarily seen it from that perspective necessarily, but it's whether it's in their consciousness or not, it's part of a very ancient lineage. So I don't know where Oz is coming from, but it's amazing to see this clash and this connectivity between our free wills and our abilities to break out of this kind of matrix, and at the same time, like, we're headed into a direction that is not new waters. It's really just the fulfillment of things that have been really prophesied for so long. So it's quite powerful to be living in this time, both as a Jewish person and as just a cosmic being connected to the people in this world.
Nice. We'll pass it over to Oz. Oz, anything you want to add on just what this event means to you, how you see it from the bigger picture?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I really agree with Noah, of course, and I have really exciting news also. Alon and Avi both will be flying over to Canada in mid-April, and that actually leads me to the second big news, which is we're doing a great project, which we're publishing on Tuesday. It's going to be a road trip. It's going to be a 1-month road trip from London, Ontario, driving all the way to Halifax.
Right on, man. Alon did mention that to me earlier. So, but for the surprise, it's totally like, because I think that'll be pretty cool, man. We'll definitely be able to hook up with Alon, and we'll get him down at our Paradigm Shift London meeting.
What we'll be doing is basically, a lot of free hugs and a lot of good vibes, stopping in every city and giving people presents and some music and some dancing and some crazy things. And we're going to be documenting everything and putting it online. It's going to be on Travolta, actually. It's a great funding website.
What's the website that you guys got?
It's a great, it's a travel funding website. It's called Travolta.
Okay, cool. We'll have to send me a link for that. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting because I've had similar ideas of just and I've talked about this on the past, but doing like going through the United States and hitting up the different Paradigm Shift communities and people who listen to this radio show and doing shifty stuff with them. But dude, I think that's pretty cool, man.
Of course, we'd love people to come and join us in every part of our trip and help us out and just be with us and help us spread free love.
Cool, man. Cool. We'll definitely be talking more about that with Alon because we'll have to make sure that things are planned to sync up properly. But Noah, that'll be pretty cool, man. You get
I mean,
like a power team coming together, cross oceans.
It's so funny because like I don't even know what my plans are. I mean, I'm going to Israel for the summer and probably for the year next year, but I may be staying for that month. I may not be, but we may be missing each other. But A third part of this plan is just something that we're also going to do when they get back to Israel, is kind of a similar thing, but literally from the top of the country to the bottom, and it's a tiny country. And the thing about it is that the way I look at these things is not so much like, it's amazing that, and me and Oz experienced some incredible things downtown when we did it. And it's just little seeds that are being planted. You know, a lot of people say that you're not really, it's not really doing much, it's not really making a difference, but it's so hard to really know. It's so hard to really tell when you're actually making that kind of a difference. Because the real thing about giving is that it's not something that you're always going to see. You know, you may hear 5 years later that person that you hugged, that saved that person's life. He was going through something hard. You gave him a book. You gave him a hug. You said something to him, and that just completely shifted his entire universe. And it's just this. And actually, it was something that I learned this weekend, which was really interesting. And I'm sure Oz knows this because of the Hebrew language. But that when we start to really, the biggest shift that I believe needs to happen is our ability to perceive the fact that giving is actually the greatest form of receiving. So in the Hebrew language, the word for giving is natan, and if you spell it backwards, it's the same as it does forward. And it really reveals a secret about giving, is that when you give, the opposite is like you're being given back on the opposite spectrum. Every time you give, you're receiving back automatically, and the other person's giving to you. And I know that a lot of times, even I have this struggle. It's like sometimes I just don't want to push a little bit more. Sometimes I just don't want to do it. And the more that we kind of change our perspective on how we look at giving and realize that it's actually this transformative process by which you receive. And I know it might sound selfish to even say that, but so what? If you're going to start giving more and more because you're happy to be receiving, even if it's just gratitude, great. You know, at least that's the first stage. And what they're just doing is they're saying, you know what, whatever I'm doing with my life right now, I'm going to spend a concentrated amount of energy giving, and I'm going to put that out there. And you know, we do have a big mountain to climb. There are a lot of things that are going to need to change, but you know what, it's okay because we're pioneers right now. Mm-hmm. Just at the beginning, and we just have to do the little things that we can do. And part of that just is just the small little things, such as giving a hug, or getting along with, you know, small little like family members or just the people around us. It's sometimes a little bit more simple than we think it is.
Definitely, man. Like again, I say this all the time, but like the little things make the big differences. Like ripples create waves, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, even just reading in the live chat, Tracy just saying it literally, like saying that love is the answer. And I think that is sort of when people ask why, you know, if people see an event like what you guys got planned in Israel, or just any of the, you know, the free hugs events that people through the Paradigm Shift community do and are encouraged to do, getting out there with shift buttons and free hugs and conscious signs and bringing love into the world through acts of shiftivism, etc. But like doing that, you know, like people ask like, why do you do that? I say like, love is the answer. But yeah, I mean, just spending a few more minutes, I mean, just sort of really hitting home on some of the ideas that we're bringing up here, and then possibly, maybe, I mean, we'll have to see if there's other callers who want to call in. Please feel free to do so. But yeah, just Oz, like, what do you anything else that you sort of want to reflect or bounce off that? Just even the, you know, love is the answer kind of thing. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's definitely what we're going for on our road trip. We want to reflect our love and show that everybody can love and is welcome to love everybody else with us. And that's what we're going for, actually. And I do believe it's the answer.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Noah, anything else that you go ahead, Noah, if you just want to jump in conversation-wise.
Yeah, no, I just think that things just can get so complicated, and it's not so much a product of what's outside. It's just more of a product of the inability for us to simplify. You know, I know that especially people in this community, you know, you have certain people that are kind of, there's definitely more of the airy kind and all love, and that's great. And then there's people that are kind of boggled down by the amount of just like what you're hearing and what's really going on in the nature of our reality and kind of the matrix of society that we're in and how much there's to overcome. But like it's okay. Like it's okay because it's not something that is going to get accomplished more because I'm more angry about it and because I'm more upset. No, of course you want to have the energy to care. But even I know it's so funny. Like I know this is like part of the problem in so many ways. But yeah, like I was just sitting with my parents and family, and we were actually.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute Oz real quick if that's. I don't know if that's on his end or is that Noah's end. No, keep talking.
Oh, is it me?
Maybe it's like a. Go ahead, keep going. It's fine.
Oh, just the attitude that we take in the way that we go about this. So basically, I don't know. I just happened. Sorry, is it me or?
No. It's okay. I was just saying, like, yeah, we were talking about like attitude as being a thing
yeah,
earlier.
I just happened to be It's actually a good lesson for today. I mean, I actually just happened to be watching. I was sitting with my family, and we actually were watching the show Modern Family. And I'm not a big TV person, but whatever, it was on. We were watching it, and the person who is this environmentalist and just basically saying that everything he does, reduces energy and nothing he does is wrong. He had such a snobby attitude towards it that it just caused hatred, and people were just like, "This guy's an idiot. I don't want to hang out with him," And the attitude that we have towards these issues is going to be huge. If we are going to expect to make people care, because how does change happen? One must intellectually understand and then bring it to their heart to feel. We intellectually understand many things that are going wrong, but our hearts just aren't compassionate towards it. So, and actually to unite the intellect and the heart towards creating people to kind of sway their opinions and to actually care about the things that you care about, you have to do it in a way that you have to understand the alchemical effect of words and sound and intention, and realize that you're not going to get anywhere when you're portraying it in such a negative tone. And the way you do it and the way you bring up things, like, for example, if you think that there's something wrong with, I guess, the way the food production is, how you bring that up, it's literally like understanding the science of using sound and words, because one person could come up to you and say it, and you could just be like, honestly, buzz off, and another person could reach into the keys that guard your heart, and then you will change. And that is a skill. That is a skill that people, if they learned how to approach these problems, we would be creating more momentum. And so the key is just to get rid of that superiority, get rid of that, oh, I'm doing better than you, get rid of that attitude and really just embody it with love, and it will change. And these aren't lovey-dovey abstract principles. Like, if you actually try them, they
practical.
They work. And it's so important, if we want to change things, to make sure we're doing it in a way that doesn't piss people off.
Well, that's that actually, earlier in the show, I mean, I intended to talk to this at some point in the show, and we got 20 minutes left, which is enough time. But I mean, even just hitting upon some of the obvious topics of conversation that have been sort of floating around the internet this week, even like the thing with like the fake snow, quote unquote, and even just like something of like how to go about talking like that. Or I mean, last week in London there was or globally there was like an awareness thing about like technically like geoengineering / chemtrails, but really trying to bring more attention to chemtrails. And through that, kind of a similar thing where it was a difficult situation for like how do you go around, like you can't just like protest chemtrails, but it's also about raising awareness, and how do you create a conversation circle where you can talk to somebody about chemtrails without just like telling them to tell you to piss off, sort of things. But I mean, things like that, we can sort of hit upon these in the last few minutes. And there's also an article I saw online that was pretty interesting, and it's actually related to the Super Bowl. And apparently one of the coaches for the Super Bowl teams, I guess the Seahawks, if that's even who's playing, I don't know, and they actually do yoga and meditation as part of their training, which I think is actually a pretty cool thing, and that's probably like overlooked from the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl, I mean, not to even talk, we can talk about that. I can save my thoughts on that, but I'm kind of curious to bring Joel back on, who was with us earlier, and just invite him to be a part of this conversation, and just that'd be four of us in the conversation circle, and just hit upon a couple of those things, if that's something that you guys want to do, just in terms of going back to what Noah was saying, like how do we talk about things that like the fake snow and chemtrails and stuff like that, or bring some sort of insight to it without it, just like, to be able to do it with a level of tact, I guess is one way of saying it. But Noah, just go ahead and respond to that, and then I'm going to bring on Joel, and Oz, you can jump in conversation just if you feel or want to. But no, go ahead, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously this is a work in progress in so many ways, so there's not necessarily all the right answers, but when I really break it down, I try to think, okay, how would a rational person understand the issue? So the way I break it down is that I know that most people that I know that aren't interested in what's really going on still care about future, still care about family, still care about friends and love and happiness and all the things that everyone else cares about. So a really interesting topic, if someone asks me, why are you doing this? Why do you care about these things? And I say to myself, it's the same reason why you care about the things that you care about. You want a future. You want a family. You want to bring, not just for to just have kids necessarily. Why do you want to have kids? You want to have kids, there's so many different reasons, but not just so it ends at your kid's generation or the generation after that. No, you want to keep spreading the ways for people to be able to live a good life. And so if people understand that these aren't abstract principles and ideas that are going on, but these are the vital issues that will determine whether or not we have a future. And so a lot of times if people ask me, why are you doing this? I'll say, because I know that I want to have kids. I know that I want to have a family, and I want to live in a place where my kids and my kids' kids can live comfortably. And do you want that? Is that something that you value also? So then it's important to start thinking about these things, because this is our future. So that's kind of one strategy, is I always try to bring it as much to earth and as much to the things that are at the root of people's emotions and things that drive people. Because if it seems so abstract and beyond connected to them, there's no way that it's going to matter or that they're going to care. So I just always try and somehow relate it to a thing that that person values, to make them realize that they too value that at the same time.
Yeah, it's something.
Which can be tricky. It can be tricky, but...
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's like theoretical question. It's like, do you enjoy a nice blue sky? And be like, well, did you know that there might be people who are trying to mess it up, sort of thing? And be like, what? But, okay. Because I do want to just hit upon, we really haven't talked much about chemtrails, but we know what they are on the show as a theoretical idea. And that thing with the internet these days is that you can pretty much find anything to support either side of the argument. But I was just going to pass it over to Oz if there was something that he just wanted to jump in with in terms of either, or even just, Oz, what are your thoughts on the fake snow?
The fake snow? I haven't heard of it, actually.
No? Well, basically,
what's that about?
Okay, so long story short, there's a bunch of snow that sort of landed in Georgia area, which doesn't usually get a lot of snow. And then people there started grabbing the snow and filming it and compacting it into like a snowball and then trying to light it on fire. And their observation was the idea that the snow wasn't melting properly and that it was like just giving off a funny smelling odor that sort of smelled like plastic. And people were saying that the foam, like the snow could have been almost like a styrofoam or a plastic because of all the chemtrail stuff up in the sky. And then, of course, there's also sort of the other idea that people, like, that was kind of my first question. I'm like, wait, like, is this actually something, or have we just never filmed ourselves burning snow before? And then like the other idea is that like the snow itself is a good insulator of heat, so it absorbs like most like the liquid within itself, and also like the smell is just the butane that's actually just like leaving residue on the snowball, which theoretically would negate like the possible idea of a conspiracy, quote unquote. So, but at the same time, I would say it's more likely than not that there are some people, for whatever choices of their own, are choosing to put some weird stuff into our sky, only because it seems like an opportunity that would be missed if that wasn't the case. And, like I'm sure there are people who would want to try and do that in some way or another. So, I mean, yeah, whether it's actually plastic snow, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's something that like a scientist could probably tell you pretty quick. But I would just tell people to not freak out about it either way. so to speak. But our Oz or Noah, what do you guys think about that?
I think it's pretty. I think you can never know. I mean, I always ask myself when I see those kind of stories, like what would the reason be for this kind of thing to happen? You know what I mean? Like why would someone do this kind of thing? And I guess there could be 1,000 reasons that I can't think of, but I don't know. As long as it's not really affecting anyone too much, then it's just something. It's just a theory. It's just something.
And again, like it's good to be aware. It's good to think about it. But to just like settle in on one thing ultimately being the truth goes back to the idea of like see everything, believe nothing. Hold on, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is that Noah? Yeah, holy cow, Noah. I think that was Noah was transcending there. He was like going up in vibration. I could hear. I'm gonna bring on Joel, and he's gonna be able to share a little bit more feedback just on this topic as well. And we have 12 minutes left in the show. We'll do the button draw just shortly after we sort of wrap up this, and then we're not gonna be maybe we can do a short meditation. Maybe Noah can lead us through something, or maybe Joel can do it. But I'm gonna bring on Joel back onto the air, and we'll go from there. So hold on, Joel, if you're ready. Bring you back on. Here we go. Hey, dude.
Hey, Brendon.
You still there?
I am.
Okay, cool. You got some feedback?
Yeah. I love what the guys shared. It kind of highlights what I was going to say, actually. Because all these things that come up, whether it's in mainstream media or alternative media feeds, and all of these things can be a point of polarized view. I agree with it. I don't. In the end, all it really is another tool for people to express. So it's like another catalyst for waking some people up, because some people will react to that and be like, whoa, what the hell, you know? And so you really have to look at it from that perspective. Don't think of it as something to lose yourself in. No, I got to get angry about this. I got to go and do something about that. Maybe you do. Maybe this actually really resonates in your heart, and you feel that that's the way you're going to enact your contribution, for growth and change. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a little bit of a wake-up call. Because when you hear topics on, let's say, chemtrails or artificial snow, let's say that the powers that were, are continuing with desperate attempts to keep people dumbed down and whatever else. Well, so what? They'll throw out another gimmick and another gimmick and yet another gimmick. And then are we going to lose ourselves in that? No, we're just playing the same bloody game over and over again. So when we're approaching people, especially people who don't know anything and are asleep, and you're going to approach them on a subject like, oh, do you like your blue sky? And, they might be trying to amp that up. Does that actually serve a purpose? Because people who are asleep because they're already inundated and bombarded with so much information, with so much mind-numbing information and routine, that they don't get up to even smell the roses, let alone conceive that there might be chemicals in the air that they're breathing. So to just throw at something else that's going to inundate a person even more and get them to freak out, I don't think is necessarily the most proactive way to go about it. Mm-hmm. I would say if you want to really instill opportunities for positive growth and change, since people are negative slums, then give them something positive to work with. So whatever your target audience or the people that you're able to reach, whatever they will resonate with, in other words, whatever's afflicting them most, what's obvious to them, because remember, their consciousness is so tunnel vision, you got to work with what they'll see. Otherwise, you shoot something at people and they're just going to fly over their head. So work with what's there and be compassionate. And when you're working with it, don't approach it from, at first, what's wrong with the situation. Just address it in the compassionate way and in a heartfelt way where you can connect with the person and be able to well, even though you're, let's say, going through this divorce, maybe it's in best interest. Maybe this person was actually hurting you in ways and you kind of got used to it, but you know what? Maybe now you're realizing that's not right, and that's why this person's leaving, So there's always reasons. Life always gives you opportunities to be able to deal with anything that you're going through, right? So it's about coming back to basics, not losing ourselves in all these stories. Now, I'm not saying that it's not valid. Everything here has a valid point, but proper time and proper place is an important thing, distinguishment key to use here, especially when we're dealing with people that are less aware. And for people who are aware, to not lose yourself in these things. They're games. And then you play into that game, and you don't move forward.
Okay, that sets me up for a segue. When you said the word game, because this is actually something I was going to talk about, and literally just taking like a moment here, a lot of people probably heard the news. Well-known actor Philip Seymour Hoffman actually died, was found dead today, passed away, made his transition onto the next phase of his journey, so to speak. But the very interesting thing with this happening today, with it being on the Imbolc of the pagan holiday, as we were talking about earlier, that midpoint between summer and spring sort of thing, and also being on the Super Bowl date, if that has something to do with it as well. But what I was particularly interested in is that actors are themselves like microcosms of the macrocosms. When stuff happens with an actor, it is like stuff that is happening within the heavens, so to speak. So when an actor dies, do not take that lightly. And what I sort of immediately got out of this is the fact that Philip Seymour Hoffman, in addition to being an amazing actor, and I've always thought of him as a really cool guy, he, in his most recent well-known role, played the role within the Hunger Games as the Game Maker. Like, that was the name of his character. His character was the one who designed, like, the Hunger Games arena for the sequel, so he was known as the Game Maker. And I don't even want to give, like, too much away about his character, but he wasn't a guy with, like ill intent. He was actually, like, one of the good guys, so to speak, and he was trying to, like, help us get out of the game without having to, like, try and spoil it or anything. So, I mean, for him to pass away, going into the idea of, like, syncretism and synchronicity and synchromysticism, the stuff that Santos talks about, I just thought that was very interesting and could not be, not something to overlook when we're talking about the stuff that is being cast out of Hollywood, all those magic spells that are defining our game. So I think that was sort of a reminder to wake up and to realize that, like, don't play into their game. Like, be your own game maker, because we can all be our own game makers and sort of, stuff like that. But I think that was kind of cool. And sorry, Joel, I don't want to cut you off, but we do have Noah. I know wanted to make a final point, but I don't know. Well, Joel, you just tell me. Did that make sense? Was that kind of a neat idea?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And in Hollywood in general, it's another perfect opportunity to reflect the point of consciousness that people are at.
Yeah.
You watch a movie with people, and you hear the feedback they have to say. Are they lost in the story that was told, or did they get the story behind the story?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so what is the story behind the stories that we see in our media, in addition to the ones that we see in the movies as well? So, yeah.
Right.
Cool, man.
Because they're always telling you what's going on right there. It's right in front of your face.
Yeah.
But people are, again, with the inundation and being numbed down, they just take it for relief, entertainment value, rather than what's really it's saying about the current state of affairs, current state of the world, and where's your place in it? Do you want to do something about it? Do you want to rise above it?
Yeah, man, that's the trick, man. Like, and that's where a show like this helps. It helps people gain sight beyond sight, as I would like to refer it. And I'm actually wearing my Thundercats T-shirt right now, and that's what Lionel was all about. He would take the sword and he would hold it up to his third eye, and you go sight beyond sight, and you would get like clairvoyant abilities and stuff. So that's what we're doing right now, gaining our sight beyond sight. But I'm gonna bring on Noah, and before I do that, let me just do the actual draw for the buttons this week. So we're doing one draw for the buttons this week. There weren't any additional donations that came through while we were doing this to the GoFundMe page, but please, just inviting people again to sign up as a monthly supporter for Paradigm Shift, and you can do that through ParadigmShiftCentral.com/donate, and only $4 a month, and it's greatly appreciated. And it's a vote towards what you would like to see more of within the universe. That's the best way I can describe it. So thank you so much to everybody who's a part of the show for being here to co-create this together. So I'm going to do the draw for this week's free shift buttons, and again, you can always order yours through the main website, ParadigmShiftCentral.com/buttons. Use the promo code PSR for bonus buttons, and the winner is the winner of the shift buttons is Derek Bradshaw. Congratulations, Derek. So there we go, Derek. Synchronicity has chosen you, and looking forward to getting those buttons to you and having fun with those. So I'm going to bring on Noah, and we literally only got like 4 minutes left, but Noah's going to just wrap us up with some thoughts and may do a closing meditation of some form. So Noah, bringing you back on, and go ahead, Noah, microphone is yours.
Awesome. Quick
we got
few last
4 minutes on the clock, so yeah.
Awesome. Okay, quick few last thoughts. The first thought I had is really relates to a lot of what Joel said. Is really just stick to the issues. You know, if don't bring up the snow thing, because it's more controversial and depends who you're speaking to. Bring up the things that matter, the food, the environmental stuff, things that are immediately in one's life and immediately relevant to that person, especially if it's people that are unaware. That's a huge thing. The second thing was I have an awesome documentary to recommend, and the reason why I recommend it is because it brings about a lot of the issues that we're dealing with, but in such a beautiful cinematography, in terms of the cinematography, that people that really don't care about these things will find it so spectacularly beautiful, like a Planet Earth-esque type film, that they will, like, when I recommend it to people, I'm like, look, you have to watch this documentary. It's incredible, it's beautiful, it's all aerial footage of Earth. They're like, yeah, I'll watch it. And then I kind of tell them, look, it has to do with, like, our world and our story and our environment and things like that. But because I tell them how beautiful it is, so I'm just going to tell you honestly, even if one person watches it and recommends it, it's called Home, Home. If you look up on YouTube, Home 2009, it's probably the first one. It's an hour and 33 minutes. It's
I haven't seen that myself.
It's beautiful. It's spectacular. It's scary. It's frightening, but it is incredible. And there's both pessimism and optimism. There's amazing optimism in it, and I just highly recommend that people start to get in on and watch that. So that was.
Hold on, Noah, I'm not stopping you, but I just want to say we only got 2 minutes left of live airtime, and I just want to invite everybody who's in the live chat, if you want to be able to connect with other shifters, please share your Facebook profiles into the live chat now, and I'll also post the live chat afterwards in case you don't get everybody added at once, and then that list will go up live on the Facebook page. But again, just post your link into the live chat if you want other shifters to be able to add you. It's an invitation for them to add you. But yeah, no, that's a cool documentary, and I'm going to watch that because I haven't actually seen it yet. And tell your friends to watch. Tell your friends to watch Journey to Lucidity too. I hear that's a really cool movie. Yeah.
100%.
100%. All right, Noah, last 2 minutes. Go ahead, man. Finish this out pretty much.
I just wanted to give some people some more soul into their meditations. I know a lot of people. I personally practice mindfulness meditation where I just focus on the breath, and when I get distracted, I keep returning to the breath. And just something that's really helped me a lot in my practice is something that exists both in the Sanskrit tradition and in the Jewish tradition, that the word for breath is also the word for soul. So I'm not really sure what the words are in Sanskrit, but you can look it up. In Hebrew, it's neshama and neshima. The vowel permutations change the meaning. And so it says in the Torah that the infinite, Hashem, the God, so to speak, breathed into man's nostrils a breath or a soul of life. So every breath we take, not just the first breath we took, but constant recreation, every breath we take is a breath from above, is a breath from the infinite, is also our soul. So the breath is the soul. The breath keeps the body physically alive. The soul keeps the body alive. If you remember this, you will enjoy your meditations a lot more, because when you follow your breath, you're following your soul. So I guess for a minute, we can just start to focus in on that breath and realize that it is a link to the conscious and the unconscious. It is the source of our life. It is our souls. Namaste.
Namaste, man. Cool. Well, we got 60 seconds on the clock. So we'll just say thank you to everybody who's tuned in with us live once again. 36 users left in the live chat by the end of the episode. Solid number. We'll still do an after party. You can find that through the Facebook page. And yeah, thank you to Oz. Thank you to Joel. Just got them a little bit muted in the background. But I'll just bring them back on and we can collectively just join. Cool, guys. All right. Any super last words from any of you guys?
Thank you so much.
Share. Bring more people out. Get exposure. Allow people the opportunity to connect and learn and grow.
Right on. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going off the air now, so you can watch the after party. And yeah, much love. Go change the world. Start a paradigm shift community. You got this. So, all right. Join me in saying farewell to the internet, guys, as I get ready to play the outro music. Hold on. Where's the outro music? Outro. Oh, screwed up here on a glitch. There we go. Okay. All right. Noah, Joel, and Oz, join me in saying farewell to the internet as we officially end this episode. So, farewell, internet. Bye-bye for now.
Stay, internet.
Peace.
One love, internet. Keep it shifty. Is it weird that I was actually waving at my microphone while doing that? I'm sure I wasn't the only one.
Perfect.
Anyway. All right. Thanks, guys. One love.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. If you would like to connect with people where you are and continue the conversations further, then check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com/buttons to order your supply of shift buttons to share with people to help invite them to this global project while also helping make new friends and building local community where you are. Shift buttons are tools to hack the matrix and tap into the synchronistic nature of reality to accelerate our collective awakening. Enter the promo code PSR into your order to receive additional bonus buttons to your supply. Thank you again, and one love.